All right, we're live.
We Gotta Believe, episode 114. Episode 114 is brought to you by our friends at Coors Light, the official beer of slowing down summer. If you want to slow down summer, enjoy the nice weather, enjoy the beach, enjoy everything except for the actual Mets season. Because the Mets season, let's be honest, a lot of us just want to simulate to the end of the season, do some, MLB The Show stuff, and just get to the end of the season, see if by some chance we made it to the top of the NL standings. If not, it's over. A lot of people want to just do that, but for the rest of stuff, we got to enjoy the summer. Don't let the Mets ruin your summer. August is still summer. We're in like mid-August too. It's, preseason football's back. If you're a baseball fan of a team other than the Mets that are making you happy, God bless you. If you just like baseball, if you're just a fan of baseball, good for you as well. Anything else, if you just want to enjoy summer, do that. Do not let the Mets ruin your summer. Get your Coors Light. It's the beer that's made the chill. It's the beer that we said would help us chill out all year. We were in first place for like 90% of the season, and then the bottom fell out. So if you want to just chill, you want to enjoy summer, you got to get the That's why Coors Light is the official beer of slowing down summer, because it's the beer that's made the chill. We want you to savor every second of summer. Get Coors Light in the new look delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. That's CoorsLight.com/believe. You're going to take a sip and you're going to just hit I do the 1.5x on podcasts to make it go a little quicker, but you got to hit like the 0.5x, the slow motion, and just slow down summer. Enjoy this, because before you know it, we're going to be shoveling snow, looking at the hot stove, and trying to figure out how we can fix this goddamn terrible baseball team. So enjoy summer while it's here. Get your Coors Lights, throw the chill glasses on, and everything's going to be all right. And when we do win games, which might be far and few between, we got to celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Episode 114.
Wow, that was such a very depressing opening.
I think it's funny. I remember reading it before the Dodgers series on Friday's episode when we had our guy Meek Phil on, and it was after sweeping the Nats, and I was like, we gotta believe, let's go, get your Coors Lights out, we're gonna be popping them at the parade. And all it takes is one weekend of bad baseball. It's me and Kyle today. KFC has like 18 different things. KFC is basically the Miguel Castro of Barstool, where they just throw him out and he just keeps having to get like innings logged no matter what it is. It's like 10 different like properties at Barstool. Nick Hamilton had a tweet last week of all the things Kevin did last week, and it was like a preposterous amount of things. And I think like there was one or two things he like forgot as well. So Kev's out today. It's me and Kyle. Kyle, this motherfucker, this son of a bitch, who went all the way to Ireland and got to escape to the Emerald Isle as we were all going through hell. And he got to go there, comes back, and I'm almost happy you got to witness this last 3-game series, because you missed that entire bunch of nonsense we had that happened before the Nats series, the Phillies series, the Marlins series. Didn't have a lead for an entire week. It was unbelievable. So welcome back, Kyle. Welcome to the party, pal.
I was the Donald Glover meme from Community, where he walks back in with the pizza smiling and the entire apartment's on fire. Before we hopped on, I said to Clem, it was like I came back and my house burned down, and he thought my house actually burnt down, and I was like, honestly, I'd be just as upset.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck happened? We leave, we're up, obviously we're struggling, but at the same time, it's like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, we were getting lucky time and time again. There's no way that it was gonna last that long. But you think at some point we're gonna get hot, and just took the exact opposite direction, and here we are.
Yeah, I think we said, even when we're saying Mets up 4 and they were in first place and all that kind of stuff, we're like, all right, at some point the pitching is going to have to give way a little bit, because it's not like we have 5 Cy Youngs on the mound and, the late 90s Yankees bullpen there. But at some point it's going to – but if the offense gets, a little better, which they have to do sooner or later, everything's going to be fine. Not so fast, my friend, because the offense – just fucking sucks. And listen, this is like the one weekend I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe the offense to show up. I didn't expect the offense to show up, because the Dodgers are fucking awesome at pitching. When they're like, you're like, oh, you got, Bueller, Urias. It's like, oh yeah. And then Max motherfucking Scherzer as the hammer on Sunday Night Baseball. You knew it was going to happen before it happens. And this is not according to the Eli Stats Bureau. This is not any kind of advanced metrics or StatCast or whatever. This is just a gut feeling from watching decades of Mets baseball. The Mets console meter ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is the home of the console. It is like I've consoled. I think at least half of my consoles have come during Sunday Night Baseball. Whether it's a game against the Yankees where you have like Jose Reyes playing catcher at some point. It's like that's just like when crazy shit happens. It becomes like a 10-0 game. I think that there was a Dodgers game a couple years ago when Utley shoved it up her ass. That might have been actually a Fox night game, but it's always those night games during the weekend that just absolutely sucks. And ESPN, the worldwide leader in consoles. That's exactly what happened to us. It's like you get like the weekend where Friday something bad happens, Saturday something bad happens, and then by bad I don't just mean losses. Like it could be an injury, it could be you find out your starter has an MRI, your absolute stud, the best pitcher in baseball, won't be coming back anytime soon. And then like Sunday night comes and you lose by 10 runs and you have position players pitching on the mound. So that's kind of where we're at with ESPN. You have fucking A-Rod talking about just a bunch of like just an absolute everyone's like trying to sync up the broadcast where they can get Howie on the radio as the game's going on, but since there's all time differences, it's just an absolute nightmare. Mets Twitter melts down, and here we are. The rubble's on top of us. King's Landing is scorched to hell, and now we're heading out west. So it was an absolute shit show from the jump, Kyle. I mean, there's really nothing else to say.
What kind of asshole sees the team struggling that mightily, and they're like, it'd be great if we put the Mets on Sunday Night Baseball right before they fly out for a West Coast trip. Like, I understand you're doing it for ratings. It's the Dodgers, it's the Mets, it's LA, it's New York City. You want to watch those games. Scherzer's on the mound, all this shit. At the same time, though, you have to give the competitive advantage to the team that's traveling. You can't make them then travel out and play the Giants, who are over 600, and now we're going to get our dicks kicked in on this whole trip because they're jet-lagged on the first game. Like, tonight would be the night that we pick up a win, but no, they had to travel. So let's see how that goes.
I saw Noah was complaining about that, I believe, right? Did Noah come out again about it? So that's about right for our guy Noah. Noah's just that dude. Everyone has the friend who hates traveling. They pack 3 days before they leave, get to the airport 2 hours early. Noah's just, I just want to fucking work out, party, go around shirtless. Don't want to have to fly to the West Coast. And listen, I get it. Like, it is bullshit. That always drives me nuts as a football fan. They did a thing, and as a Giants fan, I always complain about this. I'm like, why does it always feel like the Giants are getting other teams off their buys, or the Giants are playing teams for like they play Monday night and then they play a Thursday night game on the road, and they actually, I think Warren Sharp had done a study, and the Giants I think had the worst luck in terms of that shit for like 5 or 10 years running, and it feels like the Mets definitely get the short end of that stick because it kind of comes with the playing New York major market, and you kind of, get that stuff. And it's, again, the Mets and the Giants haven't exactly been world beaters the last few years, and they're still getting like the prime time treatment. It drives you absolutely crazy. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spin zone. So trust me. First of all, we're only 2.5 games back in first place. I had like, we're in first place, tweets lined up all weekend in case everything had broke right for us with the Braves and the Phillies and obviously the Mets. But we're 2.5 games back. Might be getting back Lindor at some point. We still have not gotten the hammer dropped about DeGrom. The good thing that has to be said, and Kyle, you said this in the notes perfectly, the Dodgers illustrated just how far this team is from being like the Dodgers are the gold standard. They have been the gold standard for a while now, even when they haven't won World Series. It's just they pump out players. They produce their own. They take the garbage of other teams, turn it into gold. But it gave Mets fans, but more importantly, it gave Uncle Stevie. It's like, Uncle Stevie, you want to be the Dodgers of the East? Well, that's the Dodgers of the West. There's your goal. Now, as a practicing member of the Church of Coentology, I believe he will take this lesson and make it better. He now knows what he has to do. I don't think he's just going to be like, spend. We're the Dodgers now. That's how you become the Angels of the East Coast. I think he's going to figure out how to make this team the Dodgers, and I think now at least he has the goal of, this is where I have to get to. It's basically buy baseball team, question mark, become the Dodgers of the East Coast. You have now gone to the question mark, but he now knows what the finished product looks like, and it looks like a fucking train.
It is a machine. And like everyone that was complaining that we didn't do enough at the trade deadline, you're not wrong, but at the same time, how much could our team really have done to get them to the level that the Dodgers are at? At the end of the day, baseball, it's going to come down to whoever's hot in the postseason anyway. If the Mets somehow get DeGrom back and we get good news today from the doctors and we get Noah back and Carrasco doesn't shit down his leg like he did, like he's done so far. Like, these are all things where if the pieces are put together and we find our way into the postseason, we can make a run. Maybe the bats do get hot. Like, it's baseball. That's the one sport where 9 times out of 10, I would say that the number one team or the number one seed or whatever isn't the team that's winning the World Series.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems like that's not the case most years. So even 2015, when we made the run, like we backed our way into the postseason. Then when no one thought we were going to be there, and then our pitching took over and our hitters got hot, and it is what it is. So like, if you're going to leverage the next 5 years of your future and everything that we just tried to harp that we're building up with the prospects to try to beat the Dodgers and the Padres and the Giants, and then go over to the AL and beat the White Sox and the Rays and whoever else that's stacked. It's like they were fighting for the division, and that was clear from the get-go. If we win the division, great, and then it's gravy from there. And I think that's the way Uncle Stevie was approaching it.
Yeah, and I do think, I mean, we talked about this a little bit with Meek Phil in the last episode. If you haven't listened to it, check it out, because it's much more, trust me, if you don't want to relive like the happiness of we talked to Little Nats, and then it was mostly just big picture stuff. So I think that's kind of an evergreen episode in terms of a lot of stuff we talked about. But like the pitching, if we get DeGrom back, you can't tell me this team has no chance, because you have DeGrom pitching 2 games in a series, maybe 3, and then you have, and again, I don't know if it's even going to be feasible. We have to see what the doctors say, because it's starting to feel like that's definitely not going to be the case. The offense feels like there's just something, completely lacking. And I don't know if, a couple moves here and there, Duvall or someone else, just anybody else at this point. At this point, just bench Conforto and put a new right fielder in, any of that stuff. Now, granted, I do think Brody traded away a lot of those chips that would have been like, we don't want to, like, every time I turn on Twitter, Alvarez hits another home run. Like, we cannot trade that guy for a season where if we gave up Alvarez and Mauricio and then we don't have DeGrom come back, it would be like, and then you're also facing this Dodgers team that has just become a juggernaut, because they know they have a Mickey Mouse ring. They want to win the big one the right way. They're obviously set up for it. So you got to believe Uncle Stevie's going to do whatever has to be done, build that infrastructure, spend the money. If you want to say he has to replace Sandy or, get someone to kind of be the head of the org, top of the org chart and figure out the rest of the stuff, since that fucking freak show Jarek Porter fucked everything up, that's fine. I have no problem with it. At the same point, the Mets were couple base hits away from taking 2 or 3 against the Dodgers. Like, that's the most frustrating part about this team. If this offense just shows up, the pitching has shown they can pitch in the big spots against the good teams. And that's the fucking worst part about it. We forget about not having DeGrom for like months now. It's like the bullpen has somehow stayed together. The starting pitching, I don't know how the starting pitching has kept us in it, because I feel like every single guy has had like legitimately like very fluid starts. Even my guy McGill, like, he gives up those 4 runs in the first inning against the Marlins on the grand slam, but then he like settles down. Carlos Carrasco. I've heard how great of a guy you are, is how good Lindor and Cookie, and they're always smiling. I think Kev said this on Twitter. We're taking away the Cookie nickname. Cookie, you do not get the Cookie nickname if it's a 10.32 ERA. You do not get it. In 11 1/3, he has a 10.32 ERA. You get, I think he said a wafer. I'm not even saying wafer. He's
throwing up cookies. That's why. He's putting cookies right over the center of the plate. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
The other team's calling him Cookie Carrasco. We're not calling. He is the like water cracker. You know those like crackers that like your parents would get to put like cheese on, and it's like if you can't eat it without anything on it, it's tasteless. It's basically like you're eating a communion wafer. Maybe that's what Kev said. He's calling it a communion wafer. That's basically what he is. Like, don't you be bringing cookies? Not even like the bad cookies. Like I'll get heat if I say vanilla Oreos. Vanilla Oreos are just fine. People who think they're better than regular Oreos are out of their fucking mind. They're crazy. But basically, he is whatever the worst cookie in the world is. That's what he is right now, and it's driving me nuts. So it's funny that we're like the fucking pitching, the team is on fire right now. We're like, oh, Cookie Carrasco, and we think he's a nice bucket of water, and we throw it on the fire, and it's just gasoline, and it just Kyle's literal house is burning down around him right now. So it's been an absolute nightmare. But
he's the fake Oreo. He's the who knew, the healthy version that nobody fucking wants.
Yup, he's sugar-free, reduced fat, and just like absolute trash. That's what Cookie Carrasco has been for us so far, and it's like he could do this with every fucking player, it seems. It's like how much of it was the injury and getting ramped up, and how much of it is the guy just sucks. He's older now. I don't know what that has to, how much that has to deal with it. Like, Meek Phil brought up the thing with Conforto and the COVID. So I'm like, could that have been a reason why he sucked? Because everyone's body is handled different. Some people don't even know they have COVID, and some people are like debilitated for months afterwards. So it's just like the great unknown. But I'm officially like, I'm hashtag done with the core. The core,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you have to break it up. I'm not saying you have to trade every fucking guy away. I need to see an upgrade. I need to see an upgrade either at third base. I wish Kevin was here because I'm done with JD Davis. I'm done with him. I'm done. Look, I can't see fastballs in the meat of the dick blowing right past the guy who can't play defense, and all I'm asking to do is hit, and he can't hit it. I'm done with JD Double Davis.
You're hashtag done with him?
Hashtag done. You don't come back from a hashtag done. That's over.
Wow.
JD Double Davis. The D stands
and then
for
D
hashtag done.
For... Damn.
Yeah, that's another thing for JD, damn, you can't hit a fucking fastball. Hashtag done. Double Davis doesn't know how to play defense. Davis, and he's gonna go like 4 for 5 with 3 home runs tonight as I say that. But again, like I don't know if it's a Dom thing. McNeil we thought was gonna be batting 330. He's batting 270 or whatever. Dom was,
you know what it is?
Last year, 60 games, but it's
that's the thing. The 60-game season broke our brain.
Yeah.
The 60-game season broke our brain. It was Peterson. I'm never going to say anything bad about Dom. Dom's my guy.
Yeah.
JD Double Davis. Like all these players who you were like, they could potentially, even Conforto to a little bit of a lesser extent because he's got a bigger body of work. But, I mean, we were calling him the cornerstone of the entire team at one point. He was the most, steady. You could rely on him to have the stat line with the 85 RBIs and the 20 home runs, all this shit. Where you were like, okay, maybe with Pete had a down year last year. Turns out it was flip-flopped. Pete's down year was because it was 60 games. Everyone else looked good because they had a shorter season. So, I mean, I was telling you before, I was talking to my friends. They're just ready to completely punt on Conforto and move on. They don't even want to give him a qualifying offer.
Yeah, I don't know what the qualifying offer would be. I don't feel like if Michael Conforto was just a 200 hitter now, then it's like, what the fuck are we talking about here? He's up to 214, and again, batting average and everything, but I feel like 214 is almost like making his season seem better than it's been, right? I feel like it's been worse than like a 214 season in terms of just all the big spots he comes up in, the lack of power, all that kind of stuff. He's been hot lately. Again, you throw the qualifying offer out. You hope he gets signed, right? Then we get a draft pick out of it. Like that's, I guess, best case scenario. It's like Stroman's best case scenario was him coming back to us, which he did. I feel like Conforto's would be signing with another team, and then we find another. This is when you lean on the nerds to find the right fielder who will be more than a Villar, who was never signed to be an everyday guy who's meant to be a utility guy. But I feel like you would hope our front office can find a right fielder that would be 80% of Conforto for 80% less of the price and stuff like that. Right. So I'll live with that. And again, anyone who says this is the Wilpons, I honestly think like the Wilpons would have found the Adrian Gonzalez of right field and plugged him in there and been like, oh, we're good. Like we lost Michael Conforto, but he wanted too much money. Like, we got Stroman to get rid of Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is going to win a Cy Young, in our fucking face, ha ha ha. So right. I don't know. I can understand why your friends are feeling that way, but I am done with the core. I think you have Pete. I think you choose a few guys from your core. And now the thing is, and I don't know, you don't know behind the scenes what the values of players are in the trade negotiations, but you do feel like when we were talking in the offseason and we were on Uncle Stevie, drinking Uncle Stevie Kool-Aid, trying to figure out Arenado trades and, Chris Bryant trades and all this stuff, it felt like we had a lot more to give than we do now. It almost feels like back when we had the pitching a few years ago and we were like, I don't want to give up Harvey for Javi Baez. No way. Give me, no way am I giving up Harvey for Javi Baez. And then a year later it was like, I'll give up anybody on this team except for Jacob deGrom for Javi Baez. Right. So it's a tough time, but I don't know. It's at the same point, it's the fucking world champs. They beat the shit out of us. We could have won 2 of the 3 games, and I'm not trying to be glass half full, but you just have to be realistic. And it's like that. You said what was the numbers? This is the hardest schedule run for a team in 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's since the 90s. The Blue Jays in the 90s, not since them, has a team had to face 13 straight games of teams over 600. I mean, it is. If you're ever going to survive a season, if somehow, some way we come out of this even close to 500 in the 13 games, I'm going to take that as a win and move on from there, and you just hope all the other teams stumble.
Yep, exactly. And we said last episode with Meek Phil, we were talking about this gauntlet here, the 13 games. Would you sign up for 5 and 8? And it was like, nope. We're the Suicide Squad. We're not dropping the C-bomb until at least the whole season is one thing. I'd say at least after the 13 games, because you go over 13, you're cooked, and then you're basically like a meme on the internet when people start tweeting out all those red L's next to each other. But I don't know. I'm like at 5-8 at this point. That means you're going 5-5 the rest of the way. Fucking give it to me right goddamn now. It's crazy how quickly that turns.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, the pitching did their job against a very good Dodgers offense, and the fucking hitting just did not. This is my song to the batting. If I listen long enough to you, I'd find a way to believe that it's all true. Knowing that you lied straight face while I cried. I'm bringing Rod fucking Stewart to the podcast right now. Still I look to find a reason to believe. I like 3-2 games is like the only way I can believe the team's going to win these games against the Giants. I think the Giants have the highest percentage of their runs scored on home runs. So I'll be interested to see how they perform against this Mets pitching that has been better. But I mean, with no Jake there, it's just I don't know how we're gonna get through it in one piece.
I mean, we're facing Kevin Gausman tonight, who has a 2.2 ERA, something like that. And Rich Hill is Rich Hill. Like, he'll give you some innings. He's used to pitching there. I mean, he's used to pitching West Coast, so you'd hope that that he could put something together. But who knows? I don't know how we went from having like this embarrassment of riches with pitching to now I'm turning around and we're relying on Cookie Carrasco and Rich Hill to save the season. Like, what the fuck happened?
Don't you call him Cookie Carrasco. He is water cracker Carrasco. He is absolute garbage. He tastes terrible. And until he starts pitching, we gave Thor the name Loki after like a full season of sucking. This guy does not get his nickname from Cleveland brought over here just because he has the same, first and last name. The guy has done nothing for us. He was like supposed to, we were hoping he was just going to keep us afloat until Sweet Jacob comes back. And at this point, I don't know if that's happening. So we're going to have to try to just, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to look better. We're going to have to play better. We're going to have to feel better, whatever it may be. If you want to do the same, you want to just look better. If the Mets are making you feel like trash, you're waking up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you want to throw up. You've been up. You're going to be up on the West Coast till God knows what time. Then you have to go to work. You have to brush your teeth, shower, get in the car. Summer's running out. We don't have enough Coors Lights to battle off summer right now. So if you want to just, look good, feel good, and then maybe the Mets will play good, you got to go to Fleischman Salon. They made that cream cheese, skinny fat blogger KFC look a lot better. They have it all. They protect your hair from getting frizzy out in the humidity of the summer. You go to the beach, it gets all fried. The people at Fleischman Salon, we know our girl Erica. She's been in the men's hair game for over 20 years, and she's used her experience to develop a hair care line specifically given to men. They give the men the essentials they need to have the best hair every day, consistently and easily. Fleischman Salon has everything you need to keep your flow on point, frizz-free, and healthy this season. For those outside catching game, partying on the beach, and for those out in 90-degree weather. So they have the hair care bundles, which will help you get started. They have the We've Got You Covered kit, gives you everything you need to keep your hair healthy, clean, and styled. The Boys of Summer bundle includes essential styling products and the Damn Good hair vitamin to help your hair stay healthy and promote hair growth. KFC always talks about the gummies. It fucking makes it pop. And I don't like to give the clients a lot of credit. The hair pops. They've made Carabas from some dude who looks like me with the shaved head to someone who actually has like a legitimate, beautiful head of hair. So go to FleischmanSalon.com. That's FleischMan salon.com. The entire shop is 20% off using promo code BELIEVE. This includes the bundle, so you get a lot of extra saving. Again, that's FleischmanSalon.com. 20% off using the promo code BELIEVE. And then if you use the bundles, you get a little extra taken off. So kind of just mix and match, save a bunch of money, make your hair look good, make yourself feel good. And if the Mets play good, they play good. You feel even better. If the Mets don't play good, at least you look good. And who gives a damn about it? You go to the bar, you respectfully and you responsibly drink some Coors Lights, and we're enjoying something. And that's all I'm going to ask for. Just enjoy something. I have a helicopter coming overhead right now. I don't know what's going on. Erica's making sure the read's going good. Erica, thumbs up. We're looking good, baby. So that guy, maybe the helicopter's flying to the West Coast right now. They're watching the games live. We are going to be watching the games from our humble abodes. We'll be doing the Instagram takeovers Monday nights and Monday and Tuesday night this week.
I think it's Monday and Wednesday, which is perfect because Wednesday's a day game. So we only have one late night where you have to watch us slip into madness and and be sleep deprived. I mean, this is like actual torture when you think about it when it comes to that sort of thing. If they do not show up within the first 3 innings, Mets Twitter will be lit on fire that you're making the fan base stay up to watch this anemic ass offense. I mean, there's nothing worse than watching the Mets fail to hit with runners in scoring position, except when the Mets fail to score with runners in scoring position at 10 o'clock at night.
Yep, and that's the best part is that the Mets, like, in The Dark Knight where it has that like that song where, like, during the bank scene, and it just becomes like a screeching like, and like it really adds to the drama. Mets Twitter is starting at a 10 out of 10. Like that is a blaring pitch of like just screech just going right in your ear at 9:45 first pitch. You motherfuckers better have 3 on the board by the bottom of the first inning because Mets Twitter has the pitchforks, like they're doused in gasoline. The pitchforks are, yeah, that's even better. We're not doing torches and pitchforks. We're lighting the pitchforks on fire. That's the kind of fucking fury Mets fans are in right now. They're ready to fucking hit you with flaming pitchforks. That's the kind of like level we're at right now, and I don't blame them. I'm singing Rod Stewart on the podcast. We've lost our goddamn minds. Shout out Matt Dana 53, who Matt Dana, he has lived. There is a level between KFC and Frank the Tank in terms of darkness, in terms of Mets fan souls. Matt's squarely between those two. His avatar is Chris Farley, the bus driver from Billy Missing. He is in constant. He's not ranked. They're going to lose 100-0 every game, 0-162, but he is in straight up like, I fucking hate this team. He made a very good point, and this was when I had to read. He goes, but thank God the Mets are on the West Coast this week. I could not agree more with my pal Matt here. Get these assholes out of sight, out of mind for me. They don't ruin my they don't ruin my evening. They might ruin my night until like 10:30. If they're down 4-0 by like the third inning, it's like, all right, you just kind of like roll over in bed. You keep the game for some background noise. If you wake up and it's game, you wake up. But you just can't let this team ruin your moods. You can't let them ruin your week. You know what I mean? They've done that for so long. You got to watch, you got to believe, you got to root for them. But at the same point, like, you have to just at some point be like, you guys have to prove it to me. You guys have to earn it back right now. There's still a race to be won here. But if Pete has to get a fucking home run cow, a home run bird, a home run giraffe, whatever the fuck it is, I need to start seeing balls get hit. I need to see I can't even get mad at the pitching if they fumble at some point because they've been so good the rest of the year. Right. Something has to change. And I don't know, like, if they have to do it without Mets Twitter watching because everyone's exhausted and says, fuck this team, maybe maybe they just need to get away from it.
What are the rules for watching West Coast baseball? Because we went over this last year for the uninitiated. So Clem doesn't have to do extra inning games. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
Kevin doesn't have.
Okay, Kevin doesn't have to do extra inning games. Clem doesn't have to do West Coast games. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, so that was the rules. That was the treaty of the We Gotta Believe treaty of 2020. And that motherfucker KFC, who isn't even on this podcast right now, texts us today and goes, I don't think I can watch an inning of this shit tonight. And I'm thinking, I retired from this shit. Like, you can't be doing that. I had to watch every extra inning game this year. I got runners starting on second, and I'm putting the whole podcast on my back watching this nonsense. And this guy is just going to bail on me on West Coast games. So as of now, I am going to have the games on, but I am not going to live and die with every pitch. I am going to root for them, but I am not going to be like, oh, bases loaded, no outs, and, the heart of the order up. I'm not going to say we need to get 3 runs here. I'm going to say, this is really going to stink if we don't get some runs here and just leave it at that. I cannot let this team just rip my heart, throw it in a blender, and then just basically wipe their asses with it when they're done. Because that's when you have a part of the team, whether it's pitching, hitting, defense, whatever it may be. If a part of that team just consistently fucks you in the same way, it's the most infuriating thing. If you lose a game different way every single night, you live with it. But to have it over and over again, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And that's kind of where we're at with the offense. We go to the Giants. We have a good pitcher right off the bat here, which, again, Gaussman, I mean, that guy did nothing for me what I had. He was on the Orioles, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like how are these guys, saving dudes? I mean, we had Taijuan Walker, but Taijuan Walker at least had talent, and he had injury issues before he came to the Mets. We need to, that's what Uncle Steve needs to do. He needs to figure out the secret sauce that these West Coast teams bring in these trash bags from other teams and turn them into gold, whether it's, Max Muncy, right? Well, the guy wasn't anything until he, goes to that. Justin Turner, who I think who fixed it himself, and the Mets were like, nope, we don't like the way you fix yourself. Go find someone else and become like a legitimate rock of a contender every single year. So
I tell this story all the time. So from what I heard when we had Turner, he was telling, this was back in the day. So first of all, if you compare him to David Wright, and obviously David Wright has the injuries, but like Turner's had a better career. Sorry to say, like that's just the case. Like his numbers are better over the stretch since he's left. Like not even close because he's been healthy and like it is what it is. What are you going to do? But back in the day, he was apparently telling Ike Davis at first base that the coaches should go fuck themselves and he should not listen to what they're telling him to do hit wise. And Sandy got pissed and traded him away. That's literally verbatim the story I was told. I was told he was the quote unquote cancer in the clubhouse because he was telling him that the hitting coach had no idea what the fuck he was doing. And then he leaves and goes to the Dodgers and does what he wants. And now look at him. For Ike Davis.
So Brian Davis?
For Ike Davis. We traded him away because he was in Ike Davis's ear telling him not to listen to the hitting coach.
I will say this. I would have put every dollar I had on Ike Davis being a perennial all-star after like that one season. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, the fan base is out, and the fans out there, I'm sure everyone's going to do whatever the fuck they want. But our official rules for this is don't let this team ruin your week. If you want to watch them, watch them. If you're going to stay up late and, get pissed off and go to work the next day. But just try your hardest just to like that. It's like the whole reason for dropping the C word is you kind of just don't give a fuck at all. Watch the games, root. You got to believe 2.5 games back, all that stuff. Fuck them. Root against the Phillies, root against the Braves, scoreboard watch. But do not let this team ruin your last few weeks of summer here. I know, like, for us at Barstool, football season comes and it's, ramps up the workload, even though it's work in quotes, right, compared to like real work. But a lot of people, that's when like the summer ends, everyone's going to be commuting back to work, or you start grinding for the next quarter, whatever the fucking quarter it is. Q3? Is this Q3, Kyle, coming, or is this Q4? I don't know. I don't live in the corporate world anymore. But it's like, do not let this team ruin your life. They have not earned to have your like soul behind them. Still, again, I don't want to say C-bomb them, which I think we have a bunch of people in Kunsalina right now. I'd say probably, what would you say, about half the fan base is in Kunsalina right now?
Oh, if this team turns it around and we make the playoffs, I am going through all these receipts. There were a lot of Kunsalers this past week, and I'm like, we're 2.5 games out. As shitty as they look, stranger things have happened.
I had one guy hit me up. It was Shooby Dooby hit me up, and he says he's going to Pennsylvania. And I'm like, I think that's even a better way to describe it. It's not Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is where we are right now, where it's not fun. It's not happy. We're not sipping drinks on the beach. It's a fucking old fucking Dracula mansion, and there's lightning going on outside, and it's a terrible place to be. That was more the Wilpons, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania could be the Uncle Stevie version, where we're just sitting out, waiting until next year, getting some free agents, fixing the offense. I've been wanting to do an episode for a while where we just look at the free agents and we try to figure out where it will work. I think we'll wait on that, if God forbid things collapse in September and we have really no competitive baseball to talk about. But I do want to kind of get to that because I think there's a couple different ways you can go. And Hot Stove is always I love the off-season shit I always have in terms of Hot Stove and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people in Kunsalina. Are you in the Suicide Squad? Of course you're in the Suicide Squad, Kyle. You're in this to the nitty-gritty. You were the idiot watching Dom Smith drop fucking routine pop fly balls at 1 a.m. in San Francisco, which we're going back to that house horrors right now. It's almost perfect. I almost kind of like that we have this fucking gauntlet. It's like if it goes out, we're going out with fucking the tanks coming in, Saving Private Ryan style. This isn't, a fucking brigade. This is a fucking bunch of tanks coming at our ass, and it's not going to be pretty.
And not the tanks that we're used to either. These are the tanks that are going to annihilate us. Frank was demanding you and Kevin apologize to him for his call. Obviously, Kevin's going to have his thoughts on it on Thursday when he's back. But where do you fall on the tank, thinking that he's right after saying that they were going to end up here no matter what 3 months ago?
Tank, I love Frank the Tank. I've always liked the guy, even like when we first started working together. But shit, before we started working together, when he was just a meme lord that was, making his way from the news to MLB Network or ESPN with A-Rod, whatever the hell that was, Fox, I guess that was. And then all the, I've never missed a Frank Allow Me to Be Frank episode. I always go on for the Thanksgiving podcast. I've covered countless blogs with Frank. He was our traffic and weather together guy, where he was just screaming, "It's snowing outside! What the fuck?" And he's in his car. He says it's breaking down. The heat doesn't work. I love Frank. Like, I love the guy. I legitimately love the guy. I think he's a good person at his heart. He's the worst fan to have in your fan base. And I'm not just saying that like on Twitter and he's like the negative guy. I understand that's kind of his thing. I don't want to even say it's a shtick, because when you see Frank in the office, he does the same thing. He'll just come up to me. There's no cameras. He's like, what are we going to do? This is the same thing as the Wilpons. When you're in a bar and you're in a sports bar and you're watching a Mets game, and there's that one guy, every time something bad happens, oh, what the fuck? I fucking hate this guy. And then when they hit a home run and tie the game up, he doesn't say a thing. That guy is the worst guy to have in your life. It's whether it's at a sports bar, it's in your group of friends, no matter what it is. I love Frank. He's just like, and he knows what he is. Like, again, he's the Darth Vader of Mets Twitter. It's to the point where, I mean, if you read between the lines with Meek Phil, I can tell Meek Phil's take on Frank the thing. He was, as Mom says, if you don't have anything nice to say, right? Right. And there's plenty of other people like that too. He's an entertainment. He's almost like a parody account at this point, and I appreciate that. Frank, first of all, Frank was saying, they're going to lose 120 games. They're not going to win a game in June. The June's, all this kind of shit. The team's never going to. And then he's like, I don't know. I'm starting to believe. I like Edwin Diaz. This team has me thinking it might be different. Oh, no. Now they stay. And it's like, and then when they win, it's just radio silence. So I love Frank. There is more of a chance of me willfully having another child than there is of me saying Frank was right. There's no chance. Frank has he has like a Frank's army, which people who will be like, Frank was right, they'll tweet at me. They don't even follow me. So I'm like, who the fuck are you guys? I understand Frank is like, he's bigger than Mets Twitter at this point. He's become this otherworldly human, and Portnoy loves every minute of it because he gets to revel in KFC's misery. There is 0.0% chance. I apologize. I did say I'll go on Tank's podcast one of these weeks, and we'll talk it out. We'll hash it out. We've had some DM conversations. He's telling me that nothing has changed since the Wilpons, and Cohen is just the next Wilpon. And I said, Frank, you have to own these takes. You can't. Frank says stuff, and then he can just kind of like go about his business. If you think that, you have to own that take. Like Max Kellerman, and it's kind of like people have said this too. Max Kellerman says Tom Brady is going to finally lose it. Then when Tom Brady finally loses, he's like, I told you. It took Frank like 4 months for the Mets to actually and 4 months, a bunch of injuries, some guys having the worst years of their career, their best pitcher, their best hypothetical, position player, all going down, right, to then finally lose first place. And the season's not even over yet. And they're going through, Frank's going to be eating good right now, hypothetically speaking, eating good on 9 games or whatever we have left. 10 games against these juggernauts, and then we have the rest of the season. You have to beat the Marlins and the Nationals, a couple of series against the Braves and the Phillies. He's going to be on the high horse now. There's a chance it comes back. There's a chance it doesn't. There is no 0% chance I am going to say Frank was right, because Frank didn't say this kind of stuff. He just predicts doom and gloom. If you say it's going to rain, it's going to rain. Sooner or later, it will rain at some point. It's just, you can't say it for fucking 15 days in a row, and on the 15th day it rains. That doesn't mean a fucking thing. So I love Frank. He's more of an entertainer than he is a baseball fan. And again, Kevin says this all the time. Frank knows so much about sports, so much about baseball, and he complains about failure in baseball. Baseball is a sport built on failure. You fail 7 out of 10 times, you at the plate, you are like a Hall of Famer. If you fail 62 times in a baseball season out of 62 game season, you're a fucking dominant team. There's going to be ups and downs. Everyone goes through the same shit us Mets fans do. We have higher highs and lower lows, it feels like sometimes, but it's the same shit no matter what. And then you have a guy like Freddie Tank throwing gasoline on the crazy, the hype fire of everything going wrong. So that's my long-winded, no fucking chance I am ever going to say Frank was right. He's too smart of a guy to believe this stuff, but at some point he has to be held accountable for his takes, because everyone else here is held accountable for their nonsensical takes. The quote retweets, the dunking on people, and he just hides when it's when things are going good. So
goddamn right, Clem.
Kevin,
that was very well said.
Was it? Okay, good, because I just kind of love.
This team has had sores. This team has had sores. Everybody has seen them, but they haven't been as bad as he was making it out to be. That at the end of the day, yes. Do they have a shitty approach when there's runners in scoring position and when there's 2 strikes, and do they swing for the fences and is it feast or famine and we're fucking starving now? Yes, but that doesn't mean you were right when we were up 10 games in first place. 10 games. The fact that they couldn't extend that, that's on them. But that's not the team is going to collapse and fall apart because we're still not even there yet, Clem. We're still not. I'm not writing them off as this is a collapse. 2.5 games. When the time this road trip's done, if we're like head to head with the Marlins at the bottom, then I'll say he wasn't right, but the team collapsed. But at no point can you say when the team's up. He was comfortable when they were up 10 games. He said, I think that they're a good team. Verbatim. He was on the radio. He said, I'm comfortable when they're 10 games up. Well, yeah, everybody would be comfortable when they're 10 games up. When they were 9 games up, you weren't comfortable. You thought they were a shitty team that was going to lose it in the next 2 weeks, and that didn't happen. So you can't claim you're right after the fact because hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, exactly. And for all the like complaining that, he's done, all of us Mets, everyone, all baseball fans do it, right? Red Sox fans were living high, and now the last couple of weeks they are ready to fucking like bury their heads in the sand. Yankees fans, they're fucking, they were going crazy forever. They were counseling and whatnot. That's just the way of the game of baseball. Phillies, you want to see what Braves fans were saying at the beginning of the season when the fucking season was falling apart and the shitty Mets were leading the division? Phillies fans too with their bullpen. It's like it's just the ebbs and flows of baseball, and we all go through it different ways. But I just try to be like the reasonable baseball fan, which is like almost an oxymoron in itself, being a reasonable baseball fan, because all the shit that happens in these games can drive you mad. And again, I have people saying Clem sees everything in rose-colored glasses. Look at my blog since I started working at Barstool in 2014. I've been shitting on the Mets for years. I just think that there is a marked difference that happened when Steve Cohen bought the team. I think some things got for the better. Like the fact that people are like, nothing's changed. Well, we've traded for Francisco Lindor. All right, well, you didn't get Bauer or Springer. Well, we were in on Bauer and Springer. Do you think the Wilpons would have went after anybody if they had signed Francisco Lindor? No fucking chance. And we were in on both of those guys. And the Real Muto thing would have been different if the timing was different, but he wanted to sign later and he got his deal. God bless him for that. It's like, again, you're dealing. You can't deal with someone who it's like negotiating with the Joker. I can't negotiate with Frank in good faith. I'll be on his podcast at some point. We'll talk this through, but like I will hold him to everything he says. Like if you say stuff, you have to be, with your takes. I don't ever say anything. I'll make some jokes here and there, but I will never say anything like what I truly believe and then completely change it. I think this team should be better. I wish this team was in first place by 4. I don't know how the fuck we're up by 4 when we had all these flaws, but the fact that all these other teams had their flaws at the same time, all the other fan bases went through the same shit we went through. It's just now we have like potentially 10 more games of juggernauts to go through. And then whatever happens in hopefully some meaningful games in September.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, we have 2 games against the Phillies in September for Barstool at the ballpark. Those are going to be must attend. We got a midweek and we got a weekend game, and those are going to be the make or break type of series. That's really going to be what's going to put us over the top.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Phillies in big games. You just always have that Rollins, Howard, Utley, even though they're long gone. I mean, Harper has definitely we awoken a giant when we said he was never really the guy we thought he would be. He's trying to win his second MVP, so that kind of hurts. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just 5-8 is a dream at this point. I would take 5-8 in an absolute heartbeat. And I mean, it starts tonight. Whoever's listening to this on Monday night, it starts tonight. We'll see what it looks like. And again, you hope the pitching does what they do, and then you just got to see something out of the offense. It's just that simple, and it's crazy. So I didn't actually ask you this. So you kind of alluded to with your friends and certain players with you. You're a Dom guy and stuff like that. But are you kind of like this? We can't just keep rolling out the same 8 guys every single day next season, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because even this season, we had Drury and fucking Almora Jr. starting in games where I don't give a shit who we're playing. Like, we're in the thick of it now, and we need to make sure that we're playing for first place, and we're playing the Dodgers, and you're going to put out, like, our B squad. There's no analytics you could show me that's going to back that up, and that's going to – there's nothing you can do to piss off the fan base more than to not only – have the starters not perform, but then to put the guys who can't even fucking start in there and think that it's going to be anything different. I mean, we almost won that game purely because of the pinch hitting of the starters once they came into the ball game at the end. So it was like, why did we wait? Good thing, yeah, smart move. Good thing we waited until the 7th inning and let the starters come in. Like, I don't understand it. So there's a few players who I know for a fact I'm very comfortable in like them being on the field, and it's Pete, Frankie Lindor, Nimmo, which I never thought I'd say, and Dom. And I only like Dom because Dom has a little bit more of like baseball acumen where he can do the little things right. Even if he's struggling, like he's a good fielder. He's actually gotten way better in the outfield, and he's able to put the ball in play more so than some of these other guys. I mean, if you look at Juan Soto, who's a bona fide superstar, he has a two-strike approach when he's at the plate.
Yeah.
He spreads his legs out. He doesn't stride. He chokes up on the bat. Like if you have an actual guy who's your face of your franchise, and you could say the same for Lindor. Lindor's bunting as like the $300 million guy batting second in the lineup. Like you need people who could do little things when they're struggling. And this entire team, except for a few people, has nothing else in their bag except for swinging for the fences over and over again. It drives me insane. We have the longest streak since like 2000 and I don't know 6 or something like that without hitting a triple, and that's because the ball either goes out or we strike out. We're not hitting it in the gaps. It's insane,
and that's gonna be interesting coming down the road. Like, is there gonna be an organizational approach change? I know that's a Sandy thing. I mean, honestly, if at the end of this trip, it's the season is just tenders at our feet. We're gonna start the Get Theo campaign. Like, just give me Theo Epstein. I don't care what else he fucking has to take. Just get it and fucking let's hit the hard reset. He has connections to Zach Scott and stuff like that. We just have to get it done, whatever it takes. It can work out perfectly. Gets the year off, and we go from there. But again, we're not there yet. The season is still alive. The road trip has just begun. The gauntlet is just. The first blood has just been spilled, so there's plenty to get through. I don't know what the next few nights have in store for us before the next episode, which then go into the weekend. Also, I had to shout this out too. Our guy Cadillac Ranch said he wanted to hear some Mets what ifs. If the Mets season goes into the absolute tank in September, meaningful games in September are but a facade and impossible. We're just going to do Mets what ifs. What if Duaner Sanchez never gets in that cab? What if, Yoenis Cespedes catches the first, hit of the World Series, the Alcides Escobar inside the park home run? It'll probably just lead to like depression, and we'll be reliving the Mets misery bracket all over again. We could just probably take the Mets misery back and be like, imagine this doesn't happen. What if this doesn't happen? Yeah. But hopefully, by the grace of God, the baseball gods, real God, fake God, new gods and the old, the fucking Mets survive at least this. We're going game by game, series by series from here on out. So hopefully, as of tonight, the Mets survive this Giants game tonight. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, hopefully they survive this on Tuesday. If you're listening after the series is over, hopefully they have survived the Giants series. And if not, fucking go to what ifs. But if they do, let's fucking have some fun. Pennant race in the NL East. You gotta believe.
Gotta believe.